Hello everyone, this is PotterBrony. Welcome to a blind reaction of something new that I'm starting up. I'm going to be doing blind reactions to Pinkie Tales now from Magpiepony. As always, in the description below, be sure to support her over there. And yeah, let's get started. This seems like an interesting series. Ponified versions of various fairy tales, that sort of thing. This time we have Pinkie Pie Tales, Applejack, and the Beanstalk. First frame I'm seeing here is that she's reading to the Cake Twins. So, let's just get it started and see what Magpiepony and crew have and others have in store for us. And starting the video in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Applejack and the Beanstalk.
Turn that down a little bit. Just blasting my eardrums.
Hey there, Poundin' Pumpkin. Are you superly duper excited for your bedtime story tonight?
Yay!
It's a good one. It's all about this pony and this plant and this huge... Well, I'll just get to it. Once upon a time.
In a kingdom far away, there lived a poor farmer named Applejack. Although her name would lead you to believe that she harvested apples, it was a common misconception.
Wait. Misconception
Breaking the
is quite
fourth
a big
wall.
word. You could just say incorrect. That's a big word
It's
too.
quite a big incorrect. Yes, that rolls off the tongue.
Bobo?
Thank you, Pinkie.
Yes.
Applejack and her mother, Mrs. Sparkle, were in fact cotton farmers. And as every pony knows, clothing for ponies is an unnecessary luxury, especially in
So
hard
the
times
farm
like these.
wasn't doing too well.
Therefore, they were suffering financially.
Why don't you just say that they needed beds?
That's what it means, Pinkie.
Oh, carry on then.
Times were so hard, in fact, that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter only had one last thing to their name, a cow named Rainbow Vine.
I get it! Because a bovine is another word for a cow, and it's Rainbow Dash.
On the day that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter had finished the last of their bread, she turned to her daughter and said,
"You must go into town and sell our cow for some bits, or we will surely starve."
Our cow? You mean Rainbow?
Oh, no!
Don't dawdle, Applejack, and don't stop for anything on your way. Except no less
interesting
than
look for
10
Rainbow.
bits for her.
So with Rainbow Vine in tow, Applejack made her way along the worn path towards town.
Moo!
So is that all you can say then?
Moo?
Well, howdy there, and hello to you, fellow
Of
traveler.
course.
A smooth-talking sales pony and his brother said,
makes
approaching
sense.
Applejack with friendly yet somehow still sinister smiles.
Let me guess.
Apt
You're
description.
interested in the cow.
Mighty fine beast you got there. If you're looking to sell, I'm sure we could take it off your hooves for, say, 5 bits.
5 bits? Aren't you supposed to be tricking me into selling her for some magic beans?
Magic beans?
Wait, what?
One of the brothers said, then turned to the other.
Why, of course we have ourselves some magic beans.
Yeah!
Magic to its finest.
The other brother agreed.
Of course, these here are precious beans, and we wouldn't part with them for just anything.
Do we gotta trade or what?
Deal.
Really? I mean, moo!
Before another word could be said, the pair of ponies had vanished with Rainbow Vine, leaving poor foolish Applejack with 3 lousy and ordinary beans.
They're supposed to be magic beans.
Ah, yes, of course, Pinkie.
Yes,
3
3
lousy
ordinary and
magical.
lousy magic beans.
Better.
When Applejack proudly presented the beans to her mother, however,
Yeah, she doesn't look so proud.
Mrs. Sparkle was far less than pleased.
Beans? Beans? I sent you into town for bits, not beans. We cannot live on 3 beans, Applejack. What were you thinking?
I'm just doing what's supposed to be done, and I know for a fact this story has the cow traded for beans.
Worthless!
Mrs. Sparkle exclaimed, tossing the beans from her
So
hook
just fourth
into the
wall
dry
breaking in the
little
story.
yard just outside the window.
Well, maybe you could use your alicorn magic to make them into magic beans.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as magic beans. End of story. Now off to bed with you. I will have to come up with another plan to get food in this house.
What Mrs. Sparkle didn't know was that the beans she had unknowingly planted were in fact magical, and by the full moon's light, they took root in the hard soil and sprung up into a beanstalk that soared into the sky and pierced through clouds.
Neat.
When morning finally came, Applejack and her mother gazed in awe at the beanstalk, letting their
Just
imaginations
noticing.
run wild
Just
with
noticed
the possibilities of where
the
it
page
would
turning effect.
Maybe I should climb it.
Are you
Makes
sure,
sense.
Applejack? It looks rather dangerous.
Dangerous? How is this dangerous? There's a spiral ramp conveniently wrapped around the beanstalk leading all the way up.
Please be careful, my daughter.
Yeah, but there's no
be.
rail.
Mrs. Sparkle said, embracing Applejack one final time before Applejack began the climb.
Honestly, the least these storytellers could do is write in a proper challenge. What, do they think I can't climb a beanstalk on my own?
Applejack ranted just before she broke through the cloud cover.
Well, that was fast.
Applejack added, taking a look around, and
Yes,
discovered an entire
conveniently
world
fast.
above the clouds that no pony would have ever dreamed.
Wait, am I expected to walk on this here cloud? I'm still just an earth pony, you know. Can't do that sort of thing without Twilight's magic. Oh well.
Applejack took a wary step onto the cloud and found, much to her surprise, that it was firm as solid ground. She wandered away from the beanstalk
And there's grass up
and took
there.
note of the strange plants, which seemed far larger than those back in Equestria. Even the blades of grass could tower over her in some places. After wandering for a few minutes, Applejack came upon a giant building, and her eyes widened.
So
as
who's
she
the
beheld
giant?
it.
Bakery?
Looks like it should be Pinkie's.
A giant bakery. Gee,
Should she be in the
I
story,
wonder
or
who
is she
could
the one that's
possibly
telling
live
it?
in a giant bakery in the sky.
Yeah, I
Still,
wonder.
she knew that bakeries had all manner of wonderful things to eat, and that perhaps this was the answer to all of her problems. Without so much as a knock, Applejack easily
Conveniently
slipped
placed
under the
ramps
giant bakery's
in the
door
table legs,
and
too.
craned her neck up to see shelves upon shelves of wonderful things to eat. There were pastries, creams, pies, cakes,
Yeah, stuff you could
donuts,
live healthily
and loaves
off
of
of.
delicious bread for as far as she could see. The only problem was that each of these delectable goodies were too high to reach and too heavy to lift and bring back home. While she pondered her predicament,
Break pieces
Applejack
off.
could hear a faint tooting sound coming from somewhere on the table nearby. She wandered closer, the sound becoming progressively louder as she did so. It reminded her of the sound of a tuba, intermingled with the sobs of a pony. Once she reached one of the legs of the table, she paused.
The golden
Oh, look!
goose thing.
Another conveniently placed spiral ramp leading from the floor
Yeah.
to the table. How totally unexpected.
Applejack climbed the leg of the
Quit being
table,
a smartass.
and once she reached the top, she saw an array of wonderful sugary things to eat. There were jellies as tall as buildings, and pies as wide as farmland, cakes as deep as ravines, and all manner of candies scattered about in a chaotic fashion. She was so overtaken by the sight that she nearly forgot the reason she had climbed in the first place. It wasn't until she heard another loud and out-of-tune tuba tune that she continued her pursuit of the sound. When she turned the corner, Applejack saw what
Rarity.
she believed was just a regular tuba slumped against a piece of blueberry pie. What she didn't realize
Was it like a
was
magic
that the
harp
tuba
or something, I
itself was
believe?
moving and sobbing
no, not
as
golden
it
goose.
made its off-key noises.
Everything alright there, miss?
Why is it a tuba?
Oh, don't start to me like that,
It
darling.
was supposed to be a harp.
hate
I remember
talking
that
in
now.
front
It's a
of
harp.
guests.
Are you supposed to be a magical talking tuba?
Yes. Oh, woe is me. Don't.
I thought you were supposed to be a harp. Isn't it a magical
Yeah.
singing harp?
A harp. Oh, I wish it were so, darling.
toot. But instead, I am stuck as a dreadful
That sounds
toot,
rude,
making
Rarity.
all kinds of terrible toot noises. Oh, but where are my manners? Hello there, young traveler. I am Raritoot.
Really?
Yes, really. And I am dreadfully sorrowful. Well, go on. Ask me why I'm sorrowful.
I don't really wanna, but okay.
Why are you sorry?
Because I am a captive in this dreadful place, forced to play music, party music, for the wicked giant's many parties. Toot. I would rather be playing classical pieces and sounding as light as a lute, but no, I am stuck playing such tunes as Every Pony Dance Now and the tuba rendition of the Macarena.
Raritoot cried, and with each song,
That's a horrible
she let
life.
out another
I'm sorry,
dreadful
Raritoot.
tooting sound. Applejack winced at the sound and covered her ears. At this
I don't blame
point,
you.
she would say anything to make the awful noises stop.
Well,
Like a diamond
so
dog,
then I
just
hope
wanted
you
to
escape
stop.
then.
You would do that for me? Oh, how wonderful! Toot, we will become the best of friends, you and I. Perhaps you could learn to play the violin or the cello, and then we could perform concerts together and...
Whoa now, wait just a minute. I said I'd help you escape. I never said you could come home with me.
But I have nowhere else to go. Oh, Toot, Toot. Oh, Toot. You simply must take me with you.
I don't know.
I can surely make it worth your while, darling.
And how's that?
I know of a magical tree that the giant keeps, which bears fruit of the golden apple, each one 24 carats at least. They're mighty delicious, darling, if used the right way. Though I suppose they could be sold for profit, too, if you so desired.
Golden apples! So that's why I've been led here. Show me the way, Raritoot.
Yeah,
And then
that's
I
painful to
will-
say, isn't it?
Sure, why not? I can shove the golden apples in my ears to drown out the tootin'.
Oh, this is positively marvelous! Toot, 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 toot.
Could you try not to do that, please?
I'll do my best, darling, but I am a tuba after all. It's in my nature. Follow me then. Oh, and don't eat any of the food or there will be drastic consequences.
What kind of consequences?
Let us hope you don't find out. Come along.
It's,
Applejack followed
You have to
after
be so
Raritoot.
vague.
Her interest had certainly been piqued. Why would
Gotta
taking
try
a
some
bite of
food.
be so wrong? At first, it was an easy request to follow, but with each new delicious treat after another, they became more and more tempting. It seemed to Applejack
Yeah,
that
as
each
they
new
always
dessert
do.
was better than the last, and her stomach grumbled each time she avoided taking a bite. She hadn't eaten since the day before, and even then it was a meager meal.
Yeah,
at
that's
best.
gotta be,
Still, Applejack did as Raritoot had advised, until she caught sight of the most amazing dessert she had ever seen and smelled.
What is that?
Why, it's a
Apple
golden
pie.
apple pie, of course. Made from the apples of the tree we are seeking.
Golden
looks good.
apple.
Applejack trailed off, her hooves unconsciously walking closer to it.
Here we are, darling. The tree is just around the corner. Wait, what are you doing? Toot!
Raritoot screamed with a loud toot of distress. Applejack had wandered over to the pie, her eyes transfixed on its golden filling. Her mouth
Yeah,
watered,
not a good
and
thing
her
to
stomach
happen.
grumbled loudly. And though she could hear Raritoot's annoying and loud warnings not to, Applejack leaned in and took a bite. It was the most amazing pie she had ever tasted, and she buried her face into the pie for another bite. Without missing a beat, the giant door
Yep.
burst open, scaring Applejack so much that she leaped into the golden pie to hide.
Of course it's Pinkie.
Standing at the door with a large grin on her face was none other than Pinkie the giant.
Bee, bye, diddly-dum, doo, bum.
Line.
There's still a bite from my tasty pastry.
Pinkie the giant bounced from the door to the table, causing the room to quake as if the earth itself was moving. Raritoot screamed with a toot and ducked behind a large piece of cake while Applejack struggled to keep her hat on her head as the golden apple pie bounced up and down on the tabletop.
All clear here.
Pinkie the giant said as she inspected a cupcake on the opposite end of the table.
Nothing wrong here. Or here.
She examined each pastry, picking up one at a time, looking for any little missing pieces or nibbles. Applejack frantically poked her head out
Yeah,
of
she's
the
really,
pie and looked for a
really
new
picky
hiding
about that.
place. She saw Raritute giving her a nasty glare, and then she noticed the tree that she had been searching for. It was no more than 50 yards from the pie, with a yellow trunk and light pink leaves, and on each of the many branches hung a
It's
bright
Fluttershy, isn't
golden
it?
apple. Although the room was shaking with every bounce from the giant, Applejack could have sworn she saw the tree shaking in fear all on its own.
Ah, my prized pie.
Pinkie exclaimed, pulling the golden apple pie to her nose to smell. Applejack shouted,
Whoa!
falling with a splat back into the pie.
What? My pie can talk?
Pinkie cried, dropping the pie onto the table and causing many other desserts to fall over.
Oh, say something else, oh magical deliciousness.
Applejack coughed and popped her head out of the pie, gasping for air before she met the gaze of the rather disappointed giant.
Aw, you're not a talking pie at all. You're just a pie thief.
Pinkie the giant said, reaching down with her hoof and scooping Applejack out of the pie. Applejack was barely able to grab her hat in time and cringed when she put its wet stickiness back on her head.
Who are you? And what do you
Yeah,
want
that
with my
doesn't seem like it would be
desserts?
comfortable.
You don't know who I am, Pinkie?
Of course I don't, Applejack. This is the first time I've ever seen you before.
But you just said...
It doesn't matter anyway. You have to
Go with the
follow
program.
your greatest work, and now you must pay. Tuba,
Yes, Miss Giant?
play me a tune, an old western kind of tune. Seeing this pony in a hat gives me a great idea.
Before Applejack could wonder what Pinkie the giant could possibly be planning, she found herself in another corner of the bakery where a collection of pony-sized toys strewn about the countertop. Within a flash, Applejack was redressed in cow-pony boots, a white hat, and a vest where a cheap but golden sheriff star was pinned. While Applejack tried to figure
I didn't
out
see you
how
playing
she
with
could
your
be
dolls
dressed
again.
so quickly, Pinkie the giant had set up an entire old western scene complete with shops, desert sand, and an old railroad track.
What's this here setup all about?
Applejack asked,
You're gonna play.
attempting to take her hat off. Of course, Pinkie the giant was having none of that. She readjusted the hat on Applejack's head. She picked up a little purple alicorn toy dressed in a similar designed black outfit and a crudely drawn black mustache.
Ha ha ha! We meet together.
Yeah, that toy looks
Sheriff
happy.
Applebottom. You can never stop me or my evil plan.
Yeah, that works.
Are we really doing this, Pinkie?
Quiet! Don't you want to know what my plan is?
What nefarious plan have you concocted, Pinkie?
Pinkie? Who is this Pinkie? I am Midnight Moonshine, the unwanted outlaw.
Moonshine? You do realize that's another name for...
Ah! Help me, Sheriff Applebottom!
Pinkie said, speaking for a different toy on the playset. This was a white unicorn mare with a deep purple mane that was tied crudely to the train track with a piece of giant yarn.
Ha ha ha! Save her if you can, Applebottom! And while you do, I will rob the cookie bank! No pony can stop me!
Not the cookies. No.
Applejack looked from Pinkie to the toys that were roughly her size.
I don't have time for this.
Pinkie lowered her head and
You better make
rested
time.
it on the table, looking Applejack in the eye, glaring darkly.
What did you say?
I said, fret not, miss.
Rarity.
Oh, so we're not changing her name then?
Nothing else fit right.
From across the way, Raritute made an unimpressed tooting sound.
Miss Rarity.
Point
then.
proven.
I shall save you.
Applejack sauntered towards the Rarity doll. It too was dressed for the part, wearing a red frilly gown and a hat that she was sure that real Rarity would never dare to wear. She bit down on the yarn and pulled,
Oh, we got that right.
wondering what the catch was. That was, of course, when Applejack caught sight of a toy train heading her way.
Hurry, Miss Applebottom!
Really?
Hurry! Hurry! Hurry!
Concern it, I'm doing my best.
Pinkie screamed in place of the Rarity doll, just as Applejack pulled it free. The toy train sped by and straight off the counter, landing with a crash on the unforgiving ground below. This did not seem to deter Pinkie as she cheered for the doll.
Oh, Apple Bottom, you're my hero!
I sure am, Pink Rarity. Are we,
Yeah.
done now?
Done?
No, that's only the start.
Done!
Yeah.
Pinkie the Giant exclaimed, motioning to the cupboard behind her to show Applejack the many hundreds of outfits and playsets she had stored away for playtime. The pit of Applejack's
Oh boy,
stomach
time to
dropped,
escape.
and her eyes widened, imagining the horrors that were to come.
But I do have to take a teensy-weensy break to finish baking all the goodies for the party. Giant Gummy's cake must be perfect!
Pinkie the Giant said, swooping Applejack up
Giant
with
gummies.
one swipe of her hoof. She hummed merrily to herself as she placed Applejack on the shelf in the play cupboard, as if she were now one of the many toys Pinkie had collected. As
Well,
Pinkie
isn't she
closed
now?
the cupboard door,
That's kind of the point.
Applejack quickly pushed her hat in the way of the lock. Pinkie the Giant turned the key and bounced away, assuming that she had successfully locked Applejack inside. From the table
Clever
below,
Applejack.
Rarity caught sight of Applejack's trick and intended to use her music to aid in her escape. She turned her attention to Pinkie the Giant, tooting as she hobbled towards her.
Might I play you a tune while you cook your delicacies?
Oh, a happy working song?
No, Pinkie. Disney claimed the rights to that one.
Aww.
Perhaps something soothing.
Rarity offered, trying her best to play a tune to lull the giant to sleep, a hard task to do when you're a tuba. Of course, as it is with these sorts of fairy tales, Pinkie the Giant was helpless to Raritude's song. She set down her giant baking sheet of cookies and rested her head on the table. After a few minutes of silence, Applejack could hear her soft snores. She struggled a little at first to pull her hat free, then bucked the wood of the door to open it. Being careful not to make a sound, Applejack leapt from the cupboard and onto the countertop, securing her hat back onto her head. She looked to the door and almost ran to safety when she remembered the delicious golden apples. She thought perhaps if the giant slept long enough, she could take the tree for herself.
Whoa, hang on a sec.
Not having that.
Applejack wouldn't steal?
Pinkie, you're supposed to be asleep.
Oh, right.
Applejack crept along the countertop, hopping from
I
soft
love how
spot to
everything
baking
turns black
sheet,
and white
making
except
her
for her
way
when she
back
breaks.
towards the table. At long last,
Yep,
she reached the
it's
golden
Fluttershy.
apple tree, marveling at the delicious fruit that it grew.
Maybe I could have just one.
Applejack said, turning around to buck the bark
Would
of the
need
tree
a
and
lot.
cause an apple to fall.
Of apples to make that pie.
If you don't mind, I would
Stop
rather you
kicking me.
didn't do that.
Fluttershy,
Yeah.
are you a tree?
Who is Fluttershy?
Aren't you? Well, then who are you?
I'm Fluttertree.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course you're called Fluttertree. Alright, I'll play along. Fluttertree, would you be so kind as to allow me to take you home with me?
Oh, I don't know. That's not very nice. I mean, I don't really like it here, but it would be so sad if the giant woke up and her tree was missing.
What does Fluttertree want?
Well, will there be little animals where you live?
I live on a farm. Little critters are always wandering about.
Oh, like
Well,
little
then
pigs
good
and
enough.
cows and chickens? Maybe even some songbirds and squirrels.
Something like that. So, what do you say?
Oh, all right. I'll come with you. But how do you expect to carry me away all on your own?
I figured I'd use the conveniently placed wagon about 10 feet from where I'm standing.
Yeah,
Applejack
seems
said,
about right.
tilting her head to the side to indicate to the little red wagon waiting behind Fluttertree.
I guess all them ramps make sense now. Can't wheel you out of here without them.
Applejack pushed Fluttertree towards the wagon, and then used every ounce of her strength to lift it into place. As she strained and groaned under the weight of the tree, one of the golden apples shook loose and plopped right onto her head.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Applejack merely shook her head and picked up the apple that had fallen. She rubbed it on her vest before taking a mouth-watering bite.
We're gonna be the talk of the town once I get these here apples home. No pony will be able to resist them, and our money troubles will be over.
Applejack declared, finishing the apple with a satisfied smirk. She took the handle of the wagon in her mouth and carefully pulled it along the tabletop as far from the sleeping giant as she could. From the corner of her eye, Raritoot could see Applejack and Fluttertree nearing the edge of the table, where the ramp around the leg would take them
And she
safely
promised
down.
to take her,
She
yeah.
gasped in horror, thinking that Applejack had forgotten her promise to take her along. She hurried across the table towards them, each hop making a toot sound. The more frantically she hopped, the louder and off-key the toots became.
Shh! Shh! Can't you keep that racket down? You forgot me? Toot! After all I've done for you, and you were just going to leave me here?
Shh! I was not. I was gonna get this here tree to the floor first and then come back for you. I swear.
A likely story. Toot! You didn't even want to go with me in the first place. Why would you want a useless, ugly old tuba lying around the house? Toot!
Please, Raritoot.
She
you
wouldn't.
have to keep
That's the
it
point.
down. The giant might wake up and...
It's always about that silly old tree, isn't it? Toot! Oh, these apples are so delicious. What an amazing tree. Such a magical wonder. I bet it's the rarest fruit ever grown.
Raritoot!
No!
Raritoot shouted, letting out a loud toot as she did so. Applejack put a hoof to her face and closed her eyes as she heard the unwelcome sound of the giant waking up.
I never ordered that bungee jumping equipment.
What kind of dream was that?
Here. Hey, where's my tuba? My golden apple tree.
Run!
Applejack shouted, wheeling Fluttertree down the leg of the table and towards the door.
Wait for me.
Raritoot objected, bumping into a large cupcake as she pursued Applejack. The cupcake teetered on the edge of the table before landing with a splat mere inches from Fluttertree. Applejack smeared some of the splattered frosting from her face with disdain before continuing towards the opened door.
I left the door open?
Yes, Pinkie, it's called a plot device.
Well, that
Yeah.
wasn't very smart of me. Applejack might
No,
get
it
away
wasn't.
with my stuff.
That's the point,
Yep.
Pinkie.
Oh. Okay, you can continue.
Pinkie the Giant listened for the toots of her tuba until she spotted them making their exit. She growled and raced for the door ahead of them. Before she could make it, however, Pinkie stepped down on the fallen cupcake and slid from one end of the room to the other, colliding into a wall.
I'm okay.
Applejack, Raritoot, and Fluttertree made their way outside towards the Beanstalk. Pinkie the Giant was on their tail, and Raritoot screamed a toot so loudly in panic that Applejack's ears went flat against her head.
See, I'm not sure how
Stop
good of
that.
this is
We're trying to make our escape
a
here.
reaction thing now.
Back here, Dave! Even if it is uncharacteristic that you would be stealing anything, we're going to ignore that for story purposes!
Pinkie the Giant shouted after them. Applejack bucked Raritoot up into the wagon, alongside Fluttertree, then got behind the wagon and pushed it.
What are you doing?
Hang on, Miss Tuba. We're in for a ride.
Applejack said, pushing the wagon onto the Beanstalk and then hopping into it herself. With a loud
Yeehaw!
the three of them rolled down the Beanstalk ramp, Raritoot screaming the entire way down.
That would get old.
Mrs. Sparkle had waited half the day for her daughter to return. She looked up at the Beanstalk curiously when she heard a strange sound of a screaming tuba. Much to her surprise, Applejack and her two new companions rolled off the Beanstalk, missing the house to land in the dead cotton fields.
Twilight, the axe, quick!
From the clouds above, Pinkie the Giant waited at the top of the Beanstalk and watched Applejack make her descent. Hold on. Why are you waiting, Pinkie? Shouldn't you be pursuing them?
Oh, that would be silly. I'm a giant and I could have caught up to them in 2 bounces. Not to mention I could climb down much faster than a rolling wagon before she even had a chance to find an axe.
So you're just going to wait here for her?
Yep. It's a pretty big plot hole in the original story, if you ask me.
Once Applejack's axe
That's a good
began
point.
chipping away at the beanstalk, Pinkie the Giant resumed her chase, sliding down the beanstalk like it was a fire pony pole. Before she could reach the ground, however, Applejack's axe had cut clean into the beanstalk and the entire plant toppled to the ground.
Oh no! Who would have seen that coming?
Pinkie the Giant was a few feet from the ground when she suddenly stopped in midair and righted herself, landing softly on her hooves.
Yeah, she does that.
Cat! Always landing on my paws. Hooves.
Except you slipped on a cupcake 2 minutes ago.
We don't talk about that!
Once on the ground, Pinkie the Giant spotted the only living creature in sight. It was a brightly colored cow with rainbow hair. She shook on her hooves when she looked up at the giant, too shocked to run.
Oh my goodness! It's a rainbow vine! I bet I can get her to milk me rainbow milk too! Then I can make rainbow butter, rainbow cake, rainbow pudding.
Pinkie the Giant leaned
Interesting.
down and swooped up the cow.
Food coloring could do that.
Who needs some crummy old golden apples anyway? This is so much better!
Pinkie the Giant grabbed a tuft of cloud passing by and fashioned it into a flight of stairs. She hummed a merry tune to herself as she bounced back up to her home in the sky, drowning out the frantic mooing of Rainbow Vine as she went.
Poor Rainbow Vine.
Meanwhile, Applejack and her mother delighted in their new flutter tree, picking the golden apples that would magically appear once the fruit had been picked. With the seeds from the apples, they replanted their dead field until an entire orchard of flutter trees sprang up from the ground.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I hit your branch? Oh, pardon me. I'm sorry. Could you take a few hops to the left, please? I'm sorry. You're resting on my roots. Oh, my bad. Oh, look, a little blue jay. Where? Oh, these animals are so cute. Oh, he's so cute. Could you, move a little, please? Oh, he's so adorable. Isn't it? Oh, pardon me. My bad. Oh, look, how little these animals are so cute. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me.
Most apologetic field of
Rarity
apple trees
spent
ever.
her time playing songs for Applejack and Mrs. Sparkle as they harvested their new crop, whether they liked it or not. And with the money they earned making golden apple products, they were finally able to pay off their debts and live a comfortable life.
The end. Good night, Pound.
Yep, good night.
Sweet dreams, my little ponies. And a good night to you too out there. Hope to see you next time for some more Pinkie Tales.
Interesting take on the Jack and the Beanstalk story. Flutter tree. Oh, I'm sorry. Alright, so that was Pinkie Tales, Applejack and the Beanstalk by Magpiepony. And next time we have Little Red Riding Bloom. Okay, I'll remember that for next time. The playlist on her channel seems to be out of order, because I went for the oldest one first, not the first one on the list. And I'm not sure exactly the order, so I'm going to do that one next. Little Red Riding Bloom. Well, that was interesting. It's very storybook, turn the page, see the pictures type of thing, and it's literally her telling the story to the kids. It was cute, though. Interesting, but as I was saying, these don't always make for the best reaction type videos, but wanted to check these out and figured I'd do a reaction for them. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. As I said before, be sure to support Magpiepony. Link to the original video is in the description below, and I'm getting this one here. Until next time. Take care.